Hello, Benjies. Welcome to the BingeWorthy Podcast, part of the Geekish Network. At the BingeWorthy Podcast, we will binge watch a show to let you know if you should. My name is Johnny Randolph, or you can just call me Randy. And we've got my astonishing co-host, Miss Courtney Scott Wright. Say hello to the people, Courtney.
Hello, hello.
Mr. Rakai Steed.
Hello, Governor.
And Mr. Chuck Bab.
What'd it do?
Today, we will be evaluating My Father, the Bounty Hunter, and evaluating it based on our unique binge-worthy scale. We're now going to turn it over to our technical director, Rodney. Let everybody know how we rated My Father, the Bounty Hunter.
My dad, the bounty hunter.
My dad, the bounty hunter.
Friends just making up names.
It's kind of right. My father, my dad, whatever, man.
Later.
All right. So what we got here? We got Courtney. She's giving it a full binge out. I'm going to bring up the score here. Let me see here. Courtney, she's giving it a full binge out. Rakai, full meal. Chuck, full meal. and I gave it a mini meal. So let me see here. 5. Okay. And that gives us a solid full meal for our cumulative score. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So let's talk about this. And one of the great things also about our show being live is we have a chat. And you can comment in the chat and we will respond to you. We will answer any questions or provide any feedback that you have. So let's talk about my dad as the bounty hunter. So I'm going to start with you, Courtney. On this show, we've talked about it numerous times in the past. Hollywood kind of has a tendency to recycle IPs over and over and over again. For example, Velma, right? They recycled an IP and made it to something completely different. My Dad, the Bounty Hunter, this is new. It's an original IP. Did this show reaffirm the decision of recycling IPs is okay? Or did you enjoy a fresh take of something new and why?
I guess I enjoyed a fresh take. I mean, it does have some of the same, themes that we've seen in other things. There was that whole teenage bounty hunter show, and then there's like, reality show Dog the Bounty Hunter. There's all kinds of like bounty hunter shows, but I think that for me, what would made it different was the fact that you see a Black family and a black male bounty hunter who is actually, really good at his job, and he's also a pretty cool dad. Like I really enjoyed this show for them taking something that is a well-known kind of trope and then turning it around, and I thought it was great. I liked it.
Okay. So, Rakai, My Dad, the Bounty Hunter, I thought this was a kid show, right? But do you think this is something that adults could enjoy as well, watching it with their kids or maybe even watching it alone?
Well, I think that really depends on the adult and where they fare with animated stuff anyway. Like I know so many people who watch a lot of entertainment, but they just for whatever reason they won't watch animated stuff because to them that's kiddie. When I could give them countless examples of animated stuff that's not kid worthy at all.
Oh no.
I did watch this with my kids and they absolutely loved it. So if my kids could rate this, they gave it binge worthy across the scale. And I actually was going to give this a mini meal at first, but then I kind of thought about it to the point that you're making. And I was like, I did enjoy it. And I did watch it for more than just to critique it. So I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the theme. I enjoyed it being a fresh IP and a really good look. On a Black family, because it wasn't just about him being a single father. The family was separated mainly because he worked too much and he was missing his kid's life, but really him working to get back to put his family back together. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The kids annoyed the hell out of me, but
Hey, did y'all agree? We need these kind of shows, right?
yeah, like I like the way it
Figures,
wrapped up. So yeah.
out there, animation, having a good time, positive characters. I think we need these full-rounded characters. I think we need shows like this.
Absolutely.
Okay. Chuck, with you, the creative team behind this, originally they wanted to make this 2D animation, but they made the decision to go ahead and make it 3D animation. Was this a good choice to make it 3D animation? Do you think?
I think it was a good choice. I don't know how I feel about it being 2D. 2D is definitely more expensive.
And they
It,
said that.
it looks good to be in 2D. I mean 3D. Is it the best 3D I've seen? No, it's not, but it didn't have to be. The show wasn't aiming for that. The show was to tell a story of this father and his kids who think he was a truck driver. And and for the longest you think the whole entire family thinks he's a truck driver.
Mm-hmm. You
And
think?
I found that to be a pleasant twist. That made me excited. That was a
Yes.
pleasant twist.
Oh yeah, I figured his wife knew.
Yeah,
I didn't
like
think
that.
she was an alien, but I did think she knew.
You know.
Yeah, that was a pleasant twist. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was interesting. We'll talk about that just a
Yes,
little
Mark.
bit later.
2D is more expensive. 2D, really good 2D is very, very expensive.
I thought it
3D,
was
you
cool.
already have the models and they're already rigged, and all you have to do is pose them, and you can do blur, you can do blur shading in between frames to cover up for the missed frames.
I like in the last two episodes that they kind of had that or in I think it was the last three, when they started from like 1995.
mhm.
Those are considered like
Flashback.
2D, right?
Those
The
are 2Ds.
flashbacks?
Those are
Yeah.
2Ds. 2D
Yeah. And to
sketches.
see that, like the way that they did the flashback to make it look aged, to make it look
Mhm.
not just like changing the style of the character for him having a kid and play fade to like really making it like look grainy and
Mhm.
vintage and using 2D to do that. I thought that was really
Very
clever way to
Yeah.
include that.
There was
That
a
was a good choice. I thought so too, Courtney.
they
It
made a
really
lot
made
of
the
brilliant
story.
choices in this.
Like you could really tell, like, okay, this is a flashback. And he came
Yeah.
hard side bumping with the high top fade. I was like, okay, this is
The
kind of
clothing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of brilliant decisions they made in the music selection. Even
Mhm.
when they had all the songs were custom made for it, except the few Snicken song.
Mhm.
And he was like, "You're playing my CD."
Yeah.
And I was like, that CD used to be the banger. When he played it, I was like, that's my jam.
Yeah.
It was really funny. And I
Yeah.
even the fact that like he was like, you did steal my CD, when he was
Mhm.
like, because these two characters had been at odds for quite a while. And then to have that moment of like this alien stole this human's CD
Yeah.
was even funnier to me than him still having the CD. Is that like this like squid
Yeah.
face like Davy Jones locker looking dude has friggin' stole his CD.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really cool. He's the one who pulled him on too. That was key in the flashback
I
too.
was
Like,
not expecting that either. Was
yeah,
it,
he pulled him
Ricardo, was that
on.
a plot point that you thought like, they ended up being partners?
No, that was actually dope. You know what I'm saying? And, the dude was just because he was a cop, and he dropped a bag on him, dropped $5,000 on him, and he said, you know, here's your cut. Is that adequate? Is that good space? Is that good human money? And it changed his whole life. He's
Or
like,
did he? All right, he was like, "Is that enough? 5,000, whatever you need." Like
I'd have
he
been like,
wasn't
nah,
bothered
10
by it.
actually. I'd have been like 10 is pretty good.
I thought that was pretty dope. I thought it was also funny, that terrible commercial that they shot to advertise their business.
That
Mhm.
commercial was amazing.
Yeah.
Commercial was so good.
So
it
good.
was really
That was
funny. Really, really
So
funny.
good.
To your going back to your point, Rakai, about the kids being annoying. Like for me, I'm the first person to be like, "Oh, these characters are annoying." Actually, Gridlock kind of got on my nerves. He was the annoying character for me. But I don't know, like this kind of like going back to your hot take when you said I didn't know this was my unauthorized autobiography. I too share that sentiment, and I too really identified with Lisa, just because I wasn't annoyed by her and Sean, because that literally was me and my brother. And I just never felt like my dad listened to me. I felt like she would have been less annoying if his character wasn't a traditional Black dad saying, "You gonna do this." The stereotypical Black dad, who actually was my dad, like, "You gonna do this, you're gonna listen to me, no more talking, just sit down and do nothing." And if he had actually listened to her, I think she would have been less annoying, because she actually was right in that moment.
And I get it, and you're right. You are absolutely right, because I saw a lot of myself as a kid in Lisa too. She was smart. She was actually a brilliant little girl. She had a whole lot of attitude. And I think the only thing that is funny, because even though I saw myself in Lisa, the only thing that irked me is because I saw my daughter in Lisa, and
so you judging? That's not on. That's not on the writers.
It gives me a headache right now just thinking about it.
Did you see
you know what I mean?
we'll talk about that in a minute, because I don't know. I felt Terry. I was like, yeah, that's how he's supposed to act. He's a father. He works. He's putting food on the table. I think that's
But
the way he's supposed to be.
but
It's what
That was the part. That's part of
They
the
in outer
problem.
space and they're dangerous. It's like, no, you don't. No, I'm not listening to you. I know what's right here. So
but
that is called the complete take that I have. I don't see it any other
now,
way.
now here's the thing that
Okay.
I have labored with since I had kids. I got 4 kids from 15 down to 6. How, if I ran the streets all the time and I have street smarts, how do I get my kids street smarts without them running the streets? And I think the saddest thing about this and why it was like that, it was such a dichotomy, was because his kids weren't prepared. I mean, you went way past being out on dangerous streets. They in space, but they're not prepared. So they're taking everything is taken for granted.
Not prepared to be bounty hunters.
No,
I'm
that's
not prepared to be a
That's what
bounty
I'm
hunter.
all they are is curious kids.
curious kids.
As a matter of fact,
He said they're
they,
not
they
prepared.
have no idea. Remember, like just think about how the whole thing started. They snuck his trunk, they took his equipment out, and then they thought, and Lisa did it because she was gonna piss her dad off. They popped out like surprise. They didn't know that, you know what I'm saying, because they weren't prepared. And it's one of those things that as a parent you grapple with. When is the appropriate time to tell your kids certain things? Because there's only so much that they can handle at certain, stages of growing up.
Right.
And those kids
I
were
think
completely
that's
in the dark.
well, and I think that was part of the problem because Sean agreed. He was, he was the traditional little 6 to 7 year old who didn't have anything other than like what was right in front of him. He wasn't on the same page that Lisa was. Somebody should have told her something, because I think they would have had less problems. She wouldn't have necessarily been sneaking in the trunk, at least bringing Sean along, had she known even just a modicum, even if you just give her like little bits of information, because at that age, at like 11 and 12, that's when they start to pick up on things. That's when they start to ask questions. They don't get answers. That's when they get in trouble.
Yeah, and they don't
I've been that person, being that 12-year-old, that precocious 12-year-old.
You don't
I was
fill in
the
the blanks for
son.
them; they fill them in themselves.
My dad never told us what he did. I just knew what factory he worked in. I had no idea what my father did for 30-something years. And he just said, he would say is, I put food on this table and clothes on your back.
That's all I need to
All you need
answer.
to know.
I disagree with that.
You have a problem.
Fundamentally, that people die. Like my dad died, and I still don't know who he was. You know what I'm saying? And that's
I
a
hear you.
problem.
Yeah,
I hear
do
you.
That's
That
a
is a problem.
100% problem.
I think it's a balance, but at like 11 and 6, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I tell you what to do and you do it. And we're not having no other discussions.
No,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
I'm
disagree
in
with
that.
that child rearing.
You
But you just whatever works.
But I
for
understand
you.
how they feel too. It's like, why should we listen to you? You're never here. We're always
Yeah.
with mom. Why should we
Because
listen
I'm
to you?
out working.
But Randy,
But you promised this time. But he learned that hard lesson too. The work is not as important as spending time with your kids.
Exactly.
That's into them checks bounce.
That's an old school. That's an old school black
That's
thing.
an old school way of
protect and provide, and don't.
So you don't want to have a
about that.
relation. I get the statement that when he made he was like, "I'm not here to be your friend," like that. You know what I mean? I'm your dad. Like that came back because it's like so many times my dad was like, "I'm not your friend," or my mom's like, "I'm not your friend. I'm your mother." And I get that to an extent, but at some point you do have to bridge a friendship because as they get older, then they don't want to be your friend. If you don't start somewhere as an adult, like you don't really have a relationship.
Listen, I have said that to my kids, but me and my kids are friendly, and we have, me and my boys have a great relationship. It's a battle with my daughter. She just wakes up and chooses violence every day. She gangbangs on bacon. It's just, yeah, she just.
And I think that's different, but
wait a minute. You said, say it again. Gang on bacon?
She gangbangs on bacon. Like, how could you hate bacon? Bacon is meat candy. Like, how do you know what I'm saying?
My daughter don't eat,
she
eat
vegetarian?
meat, so yeah, she would gangbang on bacon too.
No,
So.
she's just angry for no reason whatsoever.
Oh,
She's just an angry little girl.
let's
you know,
talk. Let's talk more. Let's talk more
Randy,
about the show. So, let's talk about these voice actors. The choices made for this cast. Courtney, what'd you think about the voice acting for this show?
Well, it's funny. I knew right away that was Laz Alonso
yeah,
I did too.
because I watched, like having
I guess
watched
that's what
him
we call it.
in like so
The
many
boy.
shows. He has grown so far, so much as an actor. From that first show I saw him in, where he literally was a bounty hunter, like babysitting criminals that were on his team.
mhm.
And I forget the name of that show. That was his very first acting job. I was like, this guy can't act. He's terrible. And then like to see where he has come as Eminem and to just found his niche. So like to hear him in this dad character, he did such a good job. I thought he was ideal. I loved his street smart. I loved the way his vernacular it really was like my childhood. I felt like my dad was speaking through him. So like everything he said, and even Lil Sean, Robo Sean was my favorite because my little brother ran around with his hair looking like that, with the little puffs, because my brother's hair was so curly and soft, just the little puffs, and it was so sensitive. Like I just loved him. I thought the kids did a really good job. I wish we could have had more of the mom. Jamie Chung, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chung.
she was Vax.
Mhm.
She was Vax. She was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think that she had a lot to do.
Oh, I did think Gridlocks, whatever his name was, what his name?
Glorlox.
Glorlox.
Rob
Yeah,
Riggle.
I thought he was iconic. He's an iconic voice actor, and I thought he did a really good job. As much as I hated that character, he did a good job.
All I could hear every time Rob Riggle would talk, all I could see was his character in like 21 Jump Street. Like that's all that came to my mind. Just I don't know, it's just the way his diction, I like the way that he speaks it's unmistakable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Laz Alonso has come a long way since and I watched that show too, Breakout Kings, and I was like, God.
Breakout Kings. That's the name of
Yeah.
Thank you, because I was like, this is a terrible show, but I
And,
can't
you know,
stop
and
watching it.
the thing that's crazy about that show is, he was like almost like the lead actor of the show, and he was the weakest actor. Like Dominic Lombardi, like everybody else on the show was the ones who shined, and they carried him on their back. But now seeing him as like Mother's Milk and The Boys, he's killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Yvonne Orji when she went Orji as Tess, as the mom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed her. I just wish we had more of her.
Mm-hmm.
She's a good actress, though. I enjoyed her in Insecure, so she's a good actress. She's also a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
And like
put out
HBO stand-up specials.
Yeah, she put out a good special.
Yeah.
Laughing at you.
Yeah, she's Nigerian, and she did a lot of jokes about being an immigrant and her Nigerian parents. So yeah, she's a really talented actress, and I always enjoy anything that I see her in.
I think the one thing that was the saving grace really was, even though we didn't get a lot of tests, because you never know how these things go, it'll be the most popular show today and Netflix will cancel it tomorrow. So but if we get a season 2, they really reconnected and came back together as a family unit at the end. So I think we'll get to really see them as a family and what they do. And it kind of, it's like, it almost, what I like about it is this Black family basically became the Incredibles at the end. Like they are team now, because
Mom's had a Dora Milaje staff.
Yeah.
When you find out you Dora Milaje, you secretly a princess.
Yeah, and now everybody's dialed in. Like everybody is on the same page, and really, Robo Sean saved the day because he grabbed all the warp pods. Like he saved the day.
Yep.
Robo Sean came through like several times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of smart things done in this show that stood out. Like even the mother, how the relationship. He didn't leave them because they had a disagreement. He left them because my job is dangerous. I'm not trying to bring anything here.
Including the people you work for. The conglomerate was the most dangerous people.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my only problem with the show. is that number one, you knew dude came to your house, so you knew he knew where you lived. You went back home. You should have been like, yo, we gotta pack up. We gotta go. You stayed there and had a conversation. That was my one. You know he's coming back.
Yeah.
And maybe so much was happening. I actually thought, and I'll get you all. I'll start with you, Chuck. We got 10 episodes. I felt like it just kept on going, and maybe it could have been a little bit more succinct. When we were at episode 10, I was like, first 15 minutes, I was like, why do we need all this? Then I was pleasantly surprised at the last 10 minutes or so. But did we think that this story could have been told better in fewer episodes, or was it just enough, or did we even need more? I'm gonna start with you, Chuck. What'd you think?
I think it could have been shorter, but I did like the amount. The 10th episode to me was like a crown jewel on how it all played out. We learned a lot really fast. I think them being in the theme park, I think that's because they could have shortened that. They could have tightened those episodes up. Even in the grocery store with all the roaches, they could have tightened it up because I just want to spank those damn kids. I just wanted to spank those damn kids. He's like, I said be back in 10 minutes.
I think it was more of that was more about the relationship building between Robo-Shawn and Carl, and just really him developing that was the beginning of his strength, Robo-Shawn. That was the first time he really kind of stepped outside of himself, and it was an opportunity to develop him outside of Lisa, even just to try and find some autonomy. Even though ultimately he reverted back to his little boy ways, he tried.
Yeah,
when they were falling to the planet,
because he was so baby out the show. We needed to see him kind of come into his own.
But we also needed that moment between when he was crying in the car. We needed that moment between him and Lisa. We needed that moment because he needed to know. You never really see a kid crying like that. And I really appreciated it because like we always see these kids, they're super strong and nothing affects them. The world is falling around them and nothing affects them. And I'm like, what? He's 6. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so like, I loved that. And I love that bonding moment between him and Lisa because he knew he wasn't alone and that she would always have his back. Even though like in the computer game, in the pilot, like when they were playing the video game and she came back and whooped all those boys and kicked him out the group. That was straight me. That is something that I have done and would have done.
And see, that was straight Wednesday. Nobody picks a brother but
nobody.
But then how does he learn to fight for himself if his sister's always jumping in there protecting him?
But she's not always, but she should be.
Always. I thought every single time
that's your job. That is your job. As an older sister, you have one job.
You gotta let a boy be a boy. He gotta fight them out. He gotta take some of the males. What y'all talking about, man?
Okay, so I don't think a little boy 100%. Is a man.
Boy gotta take some males and he gotta learn how to fight through them.
He will eventually.
Your sister can't be always jumping in saving you. They're gonna be like,
yeah. He didn't. He saved them most of the times. Most of the times in this show, Robo-Shawn was the savior. He was the unsung hero. He was the MVP. Let's be clear. He can't.
Mark says facts, man. Your sister can't be coming in saving you, dog.
Well, here's another thing that was unsaid, and maybe I'm completely off base, but I got with his anxiety and his issues, which is very common in kids today. I don't know. I got the impression that maybe he's on the spectrum, like maybe even a little bit of Asperger's or something like that. I got the impression that he was on the spectrum, and it took a little bit more than just that. It was a little bit more going on with him than anxiety. Like
I didn't get spectrum, but I did get anxiety.
Yeah, I felt like he was very high.
His eye would twitch.
His eye would twitch, and that's something that like those are the kids that are in danger of like, like you let somebody beat them up, and then next thing you know, that kid has committed suicide. So I think you really have to be careful with that whole idea of like automatically you need to get out there and take some L's. I don't know. Also, you can let your brother go out there if you want to. As a parent, the parent's gonna come back. I know for me, when I would let my brother like try and handle some stuff, let something happen to it, and I'm the one getting the fist to the face from my mom and my dad. So no, I'm not going to let anything happen to him, even if it's just self-preservation.
Not at all.
Not
at all.
Yeah. I agree.
That's just me, though. That's just me. That's just me.
Yeah, I think Roboshan was the unsung hero, and he was scared. He was okay to be scared.
I think it's okay to be scared.
That's one thing this show solidified. It's okay to be scared.
Yeah.
But that's
like
my
when Bogdog was chasing him,
scared, and
he had the right to be scared. Yeah, but like, why was he second guessing himself? Like, he's a 6-year-old kid on his birthday.
Exactly.
Then overcame it. Like he went through a lot in these 10 episodes.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, he grew up a little bit.
I didn't think Lisa always needed to step in. That was my point. And I would say the same thing.
She didn't always step in. She was too busy doing her own thing.
No, she did. She literally stepped in at the video game. She whooped all of them, and then
that's the video game.
It was the pilot.
It was one.
So that's why you let boys be boys.
Oh,
okay. We need to move on because now you just repeat yourself, Randy.
He don't play video games, you guys. He don't play video games, you guys.
Okay. They were cyberbullying him. That's a whole different level. Like
exactly. That's bullying. That's something else.
Yes,
kids. Some older kids were cyberbullying him, and his sister had to teach them a lesson.
I 100% agree. There's nothing wrong with that. Your brother's being cyberbullied.
Piranhas in the pool.
Yeah,
it's just different nowadays.
He was learning the game, and he even said he was learning the game. You know, telling himself stories so he can be confident in playing the game. Man, you ain't played a video game in the modern era, so you don't know what it's like.
Be a man.
Not a 6.
Okay. Anyways, move on. He's not a man. He's a 6-year-old child. But anyways, so we're gonna move on.
I had a full-time job when you were sick.
The conversation.
Exactly. I'm like, did you work in the factory?
I just have
out there in the factory.
He was a bagger at Winn-Dixie.
No, right? He worked at Kroger's. He was doing ballet at the W Hotel, the Renaissance Hotel downtown.
He was out there building the Death Star with Andor.
I missed something. So we got action in here, but like kitty action. So Raquel, what do you think about the quality of the action scenes that we had?
I thought it was I don't know, appropriate for kids, for little kids, and just judging by some of the action sequences that skewed much younger. It was appropriate, but I mean, you know, for me, I need a little bit more. I mean, it was okay. I don't know, just like the whole thing with the Disneyland-esque park, and then the rescuing, you know, basically the Care Bears. Or whatever from there is just like, I don't know.
That was a little heavy for me. They were like enslaved. It was like the Ewoks being enslaved and like tortured and abused.
I thought that went on too long.
The collars off and they start, yes.
Yeah, man. It got kind of, I thought that was a little much. I thought some of that could have been cut back, actually.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't mind a lot of, because this actually, even though it was kiddie fair, it had a lot of social commentary in it. There was a lot on it. We could pick it apart, you know, for in a lot of different ways. But since the topic is on the action, I thought it was appropriate for a kids-based show. I mean, sometimes you don't have to.
Some people got murked though.
Everything.
Some people definitely died. Like I was like, oh, this might be a little strong. There was the one laser battle. When like all
of them took an L at the end when that fish that tore its mate's head off. When they was
Gorlock. I don't think he survived.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he might not make it to season 2.
You know he coming back.
You all like it because I loved it when the father, when Gridlock was trying to get on the ship and he just hit him. It's like, nah, fam, you can't come with us. You tried to get my kids kidnapped.
Yeah.
So,
I
get my
did
kids
because
killed.
I was worried. Honestly, I was worried because when they were like running up the gang, running up the pathway through the hangar and like, doesn't this feel good? Don't you remember this? And he's like, yeah, it does kind of feel good. I was a little concerned. I was like, are we forgiving him this easily? Because he blew up your ship, made your kids think you were dead,
almost killed you,
and almost killed you, and we're gonna forgive him right quick? I mean, we don't need to let you die, but you ain't coming on this ship. It's mine now. You blew up my ship, therefore it's mine.
Yeah. And because it was a kiddie show, I thought, okay, they're gonna get the lesson in forgiveness. But no, that's not what we got. And that was
I appreciated that.
Smart decision.
Me.
And it's more realistic. It's more like real life.
Absolutely. Yeah. So absolutely. So Chuck, we need a season 2 for My Dad, the Bounty Hunter.
Yes, we do need a season 2 because some interesting things happened. We know that whatever those lizard people are, the first case that he caught was a lizard person.
Yeah, I thought that for sure was the dude that ultimately ended up being the
man in charge. I think it might have been a different one. Just let you know, those people are very dastardly. Those aliens are very dastardly, and I think we need to see where this family goes after this.
Yeah, I'm surprised the lizard people let this be made.
Yeah, right. Right? It attacks all lizard people.
The lizard people let this be made. I mean, we did see at the end, that little tag at the end when they was like, okay, man down, essentially.
Courtney, what would you like to see for a season 2 if we got a season 2 for My Dad, the Bounty Hunter?
I definitely want to see mom travel with the family. I think it would be a definite must-see episode between Lisa and her mom, because the relationship between a mother and a daughter is equally as hard as father and son. And I think those would be some bomb episodes because Lisa's incredibly strong and her mother is clearly can hold her own. I want to know why mom's was on the wanted list.
That right there.
I want to know what she was wanted for.
Yeah, we need some.
And I want a 2D flashback episode of that, and I want to see her alien family.
I would love to see the alien family, but also a part that I don't think we talked about, and she came through in the end, was Grandma. Grandma might have an interesting backstory that we didn't tackle. So maybe we could get some more background on Grandma, and what we call him want to be a bounty hunter. That's not like easy. A lot of kids in the hood don't grow up wanting to be bounty hunters.
Well, I mean, just the fact that he was a cop first. So again, something a lot of kids don't envision being cops.
I thought he was just a bounty hunter.
He was just a bounty hunter. Was he a cop?
Just a bounty hunter.
I don't think he was a cop.
Was he a bounty hunter?
He's just a bounty hunter. Yeah, he's an earth bounty hunter.
He didn't pay any money, right? He didn't pay a lot of money, right? And so, I wonder, what made him do. Ricard, you think we need a season 2?
Absolutely. I would like to see some backstory on Mom. I would like to see some involvement on Mom. The only thing that concerns me is that now that the corporation, the conglomerate or whatever is after them, man down, lizard down, I don't want to see the whole family go on the run and this turns into Avatar 2. Where they hiding out for the whole show and they just
hilarious.
I need Terry, I need Tess, I need some action. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying they go on the offensive, but I don't want to see them just running for 10 episodes. Like, I don't want to see that.
Well, I also need to know why they must live in a black neighborhood because not one person came out during that battle. Because
nobody did.
Nobody, the white people would have been calling the police.
Or they didn't have the budget to pay for other characters.
They could have had a face drawn in the window. I mean, a little Karen.
Remember, but they was outside.
Cody.
They was outside
in an alleyway too.
Apartment, you know what I'm saying?
They were in an alleyway.
His little separated divorced dad apartment.
It was a house though. He had a house.
Alleyway.
It was an alleyway.
House in the hood.
Yeah, and nobody pays attention to anything in the alleyway.
Yeah, they probably thought somebody had hella bass out there. They're like, damn, it's pumpkin.
Y'all so silly.
Oh, Mark had a good point. He was like, to be fair, in the peripheral, Flynn was the little sister, and her brother ran and got her to go and like handle business. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, wasn't he was like a SEAL? He was like spec
He
ops.
was a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, Navy SEAL. And come on, I need you to play this game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hilarious. No, yeah. That was the only other thing. I was like, where the people? Nobody's gonna like call.
Yeah.
Can I get a siren? That's a sound. That's a sound.
It depends
effect.
probably on how many people watch it.
And the grandmother was Terry's mom. Like she was
she was Terry's mom.
She was Black Panther back in the day or something. She was OG.
But she was so cute. She was like, I don't need to know what's going on. My family's in trouble.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part. That's where Lisa gets it from.
She said when she first showed up, she said, I barely had any time. And she had that wagon full of all them bowls and stuff. Like she brought 3 Thanksgiving feasts. Man.
I forgot about her dog.
Know that he was like an alien bounty hunter?
I think she knew. I think his mother. I think everybody knew. The adults knew.
Yeah, I think he probably told her that his wife was an alien. I feel like grandma knew.
Because she was not surprised by anything.
No, she wasn't. And she came through with the whip like you, yo.
And hit the alien like I know you're a fucking alien, whatever.
Like, Mom, yeah. But I got my suspicions that mom was tough back in the day. You know, she was raising a boy in like a rough neighborhood, and you know, she taught him to be a man. Okay. All right, we got anything else?
He's got any family, he's got like siblings or whatever. And my guess is when they flush out Tessa's backstory, season 2, something's gonna tell me that they're gonna make her like running from her family like she was royalty.
I feel like that's what I'm saying. I feel like she's Princess Leia.
Is the model for her character. Like it's gonna be something similar to that.
I feel like she's like secretly Princess Leia, and like her family was like taken over by the EHC, and so she was kind of like low key Vex. You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and re-rate this. We're gonna start with you, Chuck. How you gonna re-rate it?
I'm gonna stick with my full meal.
Full meal?
Stick with my full meal.
All right. Rikai, how about you?
Same with me. I'm gonna hold right here.
Okay. I had a mini meal at first. I'm gonna bring it up to a full meal. Y'all convinced me. I was on the fence, but y'all haven't pushed me over, so I'm gonna bring it up to a full meal. Courtney, bring us on home, ma'am. How are you gonna re-rate it?
I'm going to stay at a BingeWorthy. I think it was awesome. Yeah.
All right.
So that gives us a 4.25. That's still right there at a full meal.
Okay.
All right. So, Chuck, you got anything to say before we head out?
No. I rather really enjoyed this. It's nice to see that they have Black animators and animation studios working on this stuff because it gets Black people's hair right. I really enjoyed the hair more than anything.
I really enjoyed
and
the hair.
It makes sense because Everett, the guy that made it, that's what he's known for.
His hair?
Yeah, he did another animation, and it was about hair. Was
it the one with the little girl?
Hair Love. Yes.
Hair Love. Did he do Hair Love?
That was him.
Oh, okay.
He was also Bog Dog in this.
Bog Dog.
He was
Bog Dog got on my nerves, but
Bog
I liked him. Because I love that Sean kept saying, he was like, he's just so cute.
I want to touch him. And that's a little boy. That's a little boy. He was such a little boy about it. But that's it. Bog Dog.
I was hoping Bog Dog would turn and want to like be, Sean's little friend.
Courtney, got anything to say before we head out, man?
What are we doing next week?
Mayfair Witches.
Okay.
It's on the schedule.
Geek out and good night.
What's up? Rikai, you got anything to say before we head out, sir?
I thought this was good. I was glad to get something in by about Black folks, made by Black folks. So that was a nice change of pace. We have watched several weeks of animation, so it'll be nice to flip back to some live action. I think right now my only comment is you gave excellent, an excellent introduction to Courtney. She was astonishing as she is. But next week, all of us need equally impressive adjectives in front of our name. She's astonishing. I could be fantastic,
Co-hosts were
fascinating,
astonishing.
great.
I said my co-hosts were astonishing. I used to do like 45 minutes of adjectives. And stuff.
I don't even. Did I get astonishing?
I
Thank
thought
you,
I
Randy.
thought I said co-host, and
She
I just said
deserves
Courtney,
every
that's
bit of
fun.
that. She is astonishing. But
Yeah.
listen, I'm gonna need an
Why
adjective.
Thank you.
I said my astonishing co-host. That's all of you all, the collective.
No, you said the astonishing Courtney Scott Wright. I was like, yep. And then you just like, all right, Chuck. I was like, oh. I said, this the disrespect around this piece.
It's okay, Governor.
Unmitigated
all right.
audacity of this man.
I can watch this because I just meant the collective. I tried to come back on the superlatives for 2023, man.
That's okay. You can't call me astonishing anymore. I gotta just be basic as Courtney.
Oh, can't be that.
I would never call
Here's
you
basic Courtney.
Courtney Scott, right? All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Shouts out to Digital Click. As always, they do our overlays. If you have any marketing or promotional needs, consider Digital Click. Shouts out to Rodney. Rodney puts up the ratings on our screen, and he's our technical directors with the smooth transitions and everything. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Mark, we appreciate you for always stepping in and chatting with us and conversing with us. The Geekish Network. Yeah, we are a network. We do stuff for people of color. Yes, sir. For people that look like you. We've got amazing talent here at the Geekish Network. So please support us. Share us with all your friends. Like us on Facebook, on Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube. So that's how the algorithm feeds those messages. Next week, as I said a little bit earlier, we're going to do the Mayfair Witches. So please come back and join us for that. As Courtney likes to say, same geek time, same geek channel. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.
Peace, Governor.